This workflow takes your blogs and turns them into hundreds of social media posts so you never run out of content. So we're going to be going through this workflow today. As always, you can download the templates, the Airtable database from my free school community down below. So yeah, let's get straight into this. This system has three parts. So the blog scraper. So what this is doing is just scraping our own blog and getting our blog post title, our meta descriptions, our featured images, our URLs, and uploading them to our Airtable database so we can then later repurpose them in the next section. So in the content section, we are repurposing our blog posts to a Pinterest post, an Instagram post, a Twitter post, a Facebook post, a Threads post, and an Instagram story. Then in the last section, in the posting section, we're using a tool called Blotato, and we are uploading to Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, and an Instagram story. Before that, though, we are editing our image, so we're actually resizing our image depending on what platform we're posting to. And I'll show you how to do all of that later. But yeah, I'm going to show you a Airtable database now, and that database is actually being used by one of my clients, so I can show you this system in action, what it looks like, and yeah, we'll go through it later in the actual template, and I'll show you how to set it up. But for now, I'm just going to jump over to that Airtable database, and I'll walk you through the system as it looks. So yeah, here is the Airtable database. So we have three tabs. We have the blog posts, the content, and then the Pinterest board IDs. I'll explain the Pinterest board IDs in a second, but essentially what we have in the blog post tab, we just have our blog posts that we scraped. So we're using an Apify scraper, which I'll show you again later, but for now, in the blogs post section, we have the blog title, the blog description, the meta description, the blog URL, and then the featured image of all of our blogs. So you can see all the blogs here. Then all you need to do is just click create post, and that will fire the content section, and we'll get a variety of posts. So in the content section here, you can see we have three tabs: the review tab, the approved tab, and the published tab. And then you can see we have all of our new posts that are under review. So tons of different posts: Instagram stories, Threads, Facebook posts, Twitter, all the captions, the titles, the images. And then we also have our Pinterest board ID, which I'll quickly go over now. What we've essentially done is just scraped Pinterest, getting our existing board IDs. So that just makes it easier for us to select what board we want our pin to be uploaded to. So really, really easy to do. So when we see a Pinterest post here, we can select what board we want to add it to, and then we can also see what boards we've assigned different pieces of content to already. And then from there, all we need to do is change the status to approved, and then we can see all of the approved posts, and then we can just select a post date and time that we want the post to be uploaded. So pretty simple stuff. We've built systems like this on this channel before and in my school community, but really powerful, really useful, and especially for a small business that wants to post to all the socials, but they don't have time because it takes a lot of time to write these posts on your own for all these different platforms, and then it takes tons of time to then post them to all the platforms. So this just makes it really, really easy, and it's all done with a couple clicks of a button. But yeah, once the posts have been published, I'll move to the publish section. and you can see all the published posts here. So let's move back to the actual template and we'll get started with setting this up. So we are inside the template. We've got the NAN template here and the Airtable database template that you can get from my free school community down below. And it's really, really easy to set this up. It shouldn't take too long, but I'll quickly run through it now. We're using, obviously, Blotato, but we're also using Apify to scrape our own blog posts. And all you need to do that is come to this actor. Really cheap actor. You could, when you sign up for Apify, I'll leave a link in the description for all of that and for this actor. But when you sign up to Apify, you get $5 a month for free, and you can see that we can scrape 1,000 URLs for $2.50. So if you've got you can essentially scrape 2,000 of your blog URLs with this scraper for free. So what you want to do is just add in your blog URLs here. And then once you've done that, come over to JSON, copy and paste the JSON, and come back to the blog repurposer. What I'll do is I'll activate this. I'll hook this up and I'll activate it. And then in this HTTP request, what you want to do is just paste in your JSON that you just copied from Apify. It didn't copy for me, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to copy it over. I'm going to hit paste. Obviously, yours will have your URLs in here because you've added them in this step here. Or a shortcut to adding them in one by one would just be go over to ChatGPT or Claude and just type, if you have all of your blog URLs or blog posts, you can literally just say insert these URLs into this JSON and it will do it all for you automatically instead of going through here one by one. Then what you want to do is just click on this API section, the API endpoint section, come all the way down to run actor and get dataset items, copy that, come back to the HTTP request and just paste in your URL here, just like that. Then you can just execute the workflow. Actually, before that, ignore me. Before that, you want to actually hook up the Airtable database. So before clicking execute workflow, once you've set up that node there, just make sure you've got your NAN connected to Airtable and you've got the right base selected here. So let's see. Blog repurposer. Make sure that we have the blog post table selected, and then you don't really need to change any of this because in this code node it's changing the data to these sections here, so that will be fine. All you need to do is just hit execute workflow and then wait, and then your blog posts will be automatically added to your Airtable base, so all this information here will be populated with your blog title, your blog description, your meta description, and then also your blog URL and image. Then once that's done, it shouldn't take too long. We'll move on to the content section. So we're going to have to set up a webhook here. It's really easy to do. In the Airtable database, if you hit on the automations up in the top, you will see two automations here: create a post and then publish post. What we're going to do is we are going to just add in something here, hit this create post button, come back to the create post automation, choose a record, and you can see that our blank record that I've just hit the create post button has popped up. I'm just going to select that, and then in the webhook section here, the runner script, all you're going to want to do is come back to this webhook here and copy and paste your test URL if you're testing, or if you have this N8N workflow inactive and you just want to run it manually, get your test URL. But if you want to activate the workflow straight away, then get your production URL. But just for this, I'm just going to grab the test URL just for now, pop it in there, and I'm going to run this. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this webhook, type in webhook, get a fresh one, come back, paste the webhook URL in again, just like that, come back, execute or listen for test event here. Let me just deactivate these nodes for now, just so we can get this sorted. So we're going to wait for a trigger event. We're going to come back and then we're going to click test action. Once this is done, you should see this webhook turn green, and then that's good to link back up. Then just double click on all of the Airtable nodes in this workflow and make sure that you've got your base connected and make sure it's the right one. So the content will be, let me just go back to here, blog repurposer, and we'll be selecting the content table because we're actually creating the content and we want it to end up in the content table. All of this stuff you can leave. So yeah, just make sure you go through all of these Airtable nodes and get it hooked up to the right base. That's really important, and it is required for the system to work smoothly. Then what we are going to do is you're going to give it a system prompt. So this is kind of like what you want the output to look like, what company or what blog, tone of voice, branding, style of the post, call to actions if you want them, add them all in this system message. What I've done is I've left all of the system messages blank, but I've left the user message in there, so I'll show you now. So what I've done is I've just added in a really simple user message for each of the post creation nodes here. So you can see that we're just using the blog title, the blog description, the meta description, and the blog URL, and we are just telling it to create a post for each platform here. So we're creating a post for Instagram, a post for Twitter, a post for Facebook, a post for Threads, a post for an Instagram story, and then a Pinterest post as well. But yeah, come into all of these, add a small system prompt. It doesn't have to be too much. You can keep it simple. You can even go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and just type in, can I have a system prompt that generates me a good Pinterest post, Instagram post, Twitter post, Facebook post, etc., etc. So really easy. Once you've got that sorted, you can then turn on your automation if you want, this create post automation, and you can start hitting this create post button and then creating posts that will end up in this content tab under the review section here. So straight away you can generate posts. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's move on to the posting section now. So we're actually going to be using a tool called Blotato. Let me just activate these nodes again so I can show you. So the posting section, again, is really, really simple to set up. We've got a workflow in the automations, well, an automation in the automations tab in Airtable called publish post. And again, all we want to do here, I'll just delete this webhook and create a new one. Grab our test URL. Execute the workflow from one. You might have to deactivate the nodes while we do this just before we set up Blotato, but we'll execute the node from this. We'll come back to this section and we'll paste in our new webhook. What we're going to have to do is come back to here and just create a record, and we will hit approve, so it will go into the approve section. I'm just going to delete these records here, and there's our new post, and we're just going to put a post date in the past just for literally the purpose of getting this webhook set up. So how the trigger is set up is when ready to post is post now and status is approved. What ready to post is I'll show you. Let's show all here, and you can see here that we've got a ready to post section here. So what we're doing in this ready to post, all it is a formula, and it's basically telling if the post date equals now, it's going to change wait to post now, and then that is going to trigger this automation and fire this webhook, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to delete this for now, but you can see if I just add in this ready to post section, it's post now because I've set the date in the past, if that makes sense, without getting too complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose our record. I'm going to click on it, and we are going to fire our webhook. Or we're going to have to go back and listen for another test event and then come back and do it again. Cool. So you can see that's gone to green, and then we're just going to link it back up. Now, what we're going to do is set up Blotato. Really easy to do. I'll leave a link in the description below. Head over to there, get signed up. You will need to actually get the starter plan. I believe it's like $18 a month to be able to use the API, but really, really worth it if you're going to be using a system like this or any sort of system where you're going to be posting to various social media platforms, just because it saves so much time and makes it really, really easy to set up. So head over to Blotato. When you're inside Blotato, head to the settings section. And then all you need to do is you could just log in to whatever platform you want, and then you're connected just like that. Really easy to do. Then head over to the API keys, copy your API key, head back to here and create a new credential and just paste your API key into there. If you haven't got the Blotato node installed, when you get this template in, it will be a question mark module. So Blotato is actually a community node. So what that means is that it's not a native NAN node. It's built by the community, verified by NAN. So you'll have to install the node, and then this should pop up. Really easy to do. Just click on here, type in Blotato here, and you can see that it's got the check mark there. So that means that it's an official node maintained by Blotato. So it's easy to do. Click on that, get that installed, and this should pop up and be ready to go. And then once you've got your API key set up, just go into all these Blotato nodes and make sure that you've got the right account selected, and where you want to post it is going to the actual right place. So take a little bit of time, make sure that's all right. What you can also do is come to this edit image node. So the edit image node is really, really powerful native node in N8N, and it allows us to do tons of different things with images. You can blur the image, you can add a border, you can add an image on top of another one, create a new image, crop an image, draw on an image, get information, rotate, resize, add text. Yeah, you can do tons of things. I'd recommend just playing around with it. What I've just done with this system now is I've used the resize operation. So for Instagram, we're resizing the image a certain way. To Pinterest, for Pinterest, we're resizing it a certain way. But yeah, play around with this. The only thing I would say is that when you resize an image, if you have a rectangle image and you resize it to, let's say, like a 9:16, it will cut the image off. So just be wary of that when you're playing around with this. And then you can even disable these if you want to, if you don't want to do that, or you can just literally leave it as it is and it will be completely fine. But yeah, then just go through all of these Airtable nodes, make sure they're hooked up to the right database, and then that will be good to go. So what I've actually done in here, there will be an error log. So within the database here, you can see that there's one hidden table. What that is it's just an error log where you can see all the errors. And how we set that up is in each of these Blotato nodes, you can see that as a success and then there's an error. Within the error node, make sure that I'll show you now. That in the table it's selected, you select the error log, but in the success one, make sure you select, I'll show you now, the content tab. So in the success, select content. In the error, select error log. Really, really simple. That way you can keep track of the errors that are happening, and it's just all nice and in one place for you to look at. So if something goes wrong, it's easy. Yeah, you can see the error module, the error message, the workflow URL, and the error name. But yeah, the Pinterest board stuff, if you want to do that, again, really simple. Just head over to Apify Store, Pinterest board scraper. What I usually do for this, it says $19 a month plus usage, but what you can do is you always get a free trial on these Apify scrapers. So if you start the free trial, come in here and just quickly scrape your boards, and then you can just cancel the trial and you've scraped it for free, essentially. So yeah, you can do that, and then all you need to do is just hook up this section in the blog repurposer, just change it to Pinterest boards, and then refresh this and pull in the correct information to for the Pinterest board. But what you would do is you come to here, go to JSON, copy that, paste that into the HTTP request module down here, come back to here, go to API endpoints, come down to run actor and get datasets items, copy that, and then paste it in this top section here, and then just hit this when executing the workflow manually, and that will scrape your Pinterest posts and add them into, well, your Pinterest boards, and then add them into this section here. So yeah, sorry if I went through that quickly, but it's a really, really easy and simple system to set up. There's literally 2 automations, 2 webhooks to set up, which we've gone through. Again, you can download the Airtable database and then also the N8N workflow from my free school community below. We do weekly Q&As and stuff there. So yeah, feel free to join that. Thank you for watching this video.